Veterans Day program, on behalf of the faculty, staff, and student body of Greenup County High School, we'd like to welcome our veterans and say thank you for your service. Please stand and remove hats as for the flag of Star Spangled Banner, and as our GC Junior ROTC collar guard presents the collars. Remain standing until the collars have exited. All right, you may be seated now. World War I officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919 at the Palace of Versailles, located outside the town of Versailles, France. Fighting had ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. In November 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day with the following words: "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with the gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." The original concept for the celebration was for a day observed with parades and public meetings and a brief suspension of business beginning at 11 a.m. On May 13, 1938, an act made November 11th a legal holiday known as Armistice Day. It was a day set aside to honor veterans of World War I. In 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, the 83rd Congress amended the Act of 1938 by taking out the word armistice and putting in the word veterans. On June 1st, 1954, November 11th became a day to honor American veterans and all wars. On June 28, 1968, the Uniform Holiday Bill was signed to ensure 3-day holiday weekends for federal employees by celebrating 4 national holidays on Monday, one of which was Veterans Day. Many states did not agree and continued to celebrate the holidays on their original dates. The first Veterans Day was observed on October 25, 1971, with much confusion. U.S. citizens held the date, November 11th, with much significance. On September 20, 1975, President Gerald Ford returned the annual observance of Veterans Day to November 11th. This new public law began in 1978. Veterans Day is observed on November 11th regardless of what day of the week it occurs, and preserves the historical significance of the date and helps focus attention on the purpose. A celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. please welcome Senior Brooklyn Green.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brooklyn Green, and I'm a senior here at Greenup County High School. I'm a 4-year member of the FFA and will continue to be a lifelong advocate. In my 4 years of FFA, I've served as a leadership chairwoman, our chapter vice president, and currently serve as our chapter's treasurer, as well as the Big Sandy River Region vice president. World War II was a pivotal time in U.S. history. It was a war that threatened our freedom and our ideals. Never before, nor since that time, has a conflict called for all people to participate in support war efforts. Our nation had to conserve resources, buy war bonds, and grow our food. The Future Farmers of America answered that call to help with the war. Our members served in the armed forces, and our chapters raised money to support troops and help produce food that would feed our soldiers and our people. In April 1942, A.W. Ross wrote in the Agricultural Education magazine that the FFA organization and its members heartily threw themselves into the war effort because patriotism, service, and citizenship are three of the most important stones in the foundation upon which the FFA is built. To be more specific, the FFA organization and its members participated in school community cannery programs that preserved food grown in victory gardens. Slaughterhouses were set up in schools to process livestock and were manned by local FFA chapters, some local to us in West Virginia. In 1942, FFA published a booklet titled What the Future Farmers of America Are Doing to Help Win the War. On February 11, 1942, the national organization purchased a $10,000 defense savings fund. This investment brought the total FFA contributions to $394,255. Most state chapters have members involved in growing victory gardens. At the 1942 National FFA Convention, the Committee on the National FFA Radio Program recommended that the national radio theme for the 1942 to 1943 year be the Future Farmers in the War effort. The National FFA set a goal in 1942 of 100% member participation for the following war-related activities: producing food for victory, salvaging needed war materials, assisting with farm labor shortage, repairing and reconditioning farm machinery, and buying war bonds and stamps. Other activities included assisting the Red Cross by building cots, splits, and structures, collecting books to fulfill government demands, assisting with the farm labor shortage, and volunteering with local fire and police departments. The Point Pleasant chapter from West Virginia were exempt from this school as they gathered milkweed pods on highways and railways. The pods were used to make materials for parachutes. Activities of the National FFA were limited during the war years. Chapter numbers dropped, agriculture teachers left the classroom to serve in the armed forces, and many chapters closed during this time, with members entering the service. Many FFA members are noted for their service in the armed forces. Lieutenant William Gentry of Harrisburg, Kentucky led Company C of the 71st Infantry Division in the first tank battle on U.S. soil held in Baton, Philippines. 8 former FFA members were reported as being with General Wayne Wright when Baton fell. World War II changed every part of our nation, including student organizations like the FFA. A positive result of the war was the creation of the Supply Service, National FFA Alumni, and the National FFA Foundation. There was a hope for the future of the FFA. I would like to thank Caitlin Wolf and James Connors from the University of Idaho for providing this historical information to the FFA. But most importantly, the Greenup County FFA chapter and alumni. I want to thank the veterans of all armed forces in all wars, battles, conflicts, and periods. We want you to know that throughout history, we have and will continue to support our soldiers and our military. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Our GCHS band will perform the military medley They are joined by our ROTC cadets who will display the military branch flag during the playing of their song. We encourage our veterans to stand when they hear their branch song so we may honor your service. Thank you, GCHS band, and thank you, veterans. Please welcome Senior Riley Duncan.
I am a veteran by Andrea Christensen Bolt-Brett. You may not know me the first time we meet. I'm just another you see on the street. But I am the reason you walk and breathe free. I am the reason for your liberty. I am a veteran. I work in a local factory all day. I own the restaurant just down the way. I sell you insurance. I start your IV. I've got the best looking grandkids you'll ever see. I'm your grocer, your banker, your child's school teacher. I'm your plumber, your barber, your family's preacher. But there's part of me you don't know very well. Just listen a moment, I have a story to tell. I am a veteran. I joined the service while still in my teens. I traded in my prom dress for my camouflage greens. I'm the first in my family to do something like this. I followed my father like he followed his. Defying my fears and hiding my doubt, I married my sweetheart before I shipped out. I missed Christmas, then Easter, the birth of my son, but I knew I was doing what had to be done. I served on the battlefront, I served on the base. I bound up the wounded, and begged for God's grace. I gave orders to fire, I followed commands. I marched into conflict in far distant lands. In the jungle, the desert, on the mountains and shores, in the bunkers and tents, on dank earthen floors. While I fought on the ground, in the air, on the sea, my family and friends were home praying for me. For the land of the free and the home of the brave, I faced my demons in foxholes and caves. Then one dreaded day, without drummer or fife, I lost an arm, my buddy lost his life. I came home and moved on, but forever was changed. The perils of war in my memory remained. I don't really say much, I don't feel like I can, but I left home a child and came back again. There are thousands like me, thousands more who are gone, but their legacy lives as time marches on. White crosses and roads and names carved in hue remind us of what these brave souls had to do. I'm part of a fellowship, a strong, mighty band of each man and each woman who has served this great land. And when Old Glory waves, I stand proud, I stand tall. I helped keep her flying over you, over all. I am a veteran.
All right, now I'd like to introduce to you our guest speaker, who is Mr. Elliot Gollihue. Mr. Gollihue is a 1983 graduate of Boynton County High School, a 1987 graduate of Morehead State University, and 2016 graduate of the University of Cumberland. After his high school, Elliot joined the U.S. Army Reserves and served from 1985 to 2012. He completed 2 overseas combat deployments in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Along with his time in the reserves, he served 20 years in the Kentucky State Police, working in Post 8 in Morehead as a trooper and detective before finishing his career in Post 14 in Ashland as a trooper for Greenup County. Mr. Gollihue is currently in his 10th year as a teacher at Russell High School, where he teaches criminal justice, honors world history, and AP European history. He is married to Leanne Gollihue of Ashland, and they have one daughter, the name's marked out. You can say your daughter's name when you come up here. Flatwoods. Please give a big applause to our speaker, Mr. Elliot Gollihue.
All right, good morning, Greenup County High School students. How are you? Good. Good? Okay. Listen, Mr. Thompson, thank you for inviting me to speak on such an awesome day, Veterans Day. It's an honor and privilege to be able to be in the company of such amazing veterans to my left, and maybe around some of the faculty and staff are veterans as well. Mr. Thompson, your students met me at the doors. I want to say thank you. Very professional, awesome students, very polite. So, wow, hats off to you, faculty and staff, for molding such amazing kids here at Greenup County High School. But I got to be honest with you about something. I was a little nervous on the way here. You know, a Russell Red Devil walking into Greenup County High School gymnasium is scary. It was scary to me, okay? And I thought, and I told my students before I left today, I said, I'm going to go to Greenup County High School and speak. And they were like, Mr. G, you got to do the horns up at. Horns up, you know, devil, red devils. And I was saying, are you kidding me? Greenup County High? No, I'm not doing that. So I am not doing it. I'm not taking the dare that they gave me. So I was thinking on the way here, the fact that I'm a Russell Red Devil speaking at a very big rival to our school at Greenup County. I thought, I wonder what Greenup County High School has that Russell High School has as well. So I decided to look at your core values and your mission statement and things that you all are supposed to be following and believing, okay? And after doing some research, I saw that your mission statement is as follows: to provide a high-quality, world-class education that prepares students for lifelong success through excellence in teaching and learning. And furthermore, your values are an acronym called PRIDE. People, respect, integrity, beauty, and excellence for about 3,000 students within your entire district. And I thought, wow, we have similar goals at Russell. And it's all about the kids. And if it isn't all about the kids, as a teacher, you need to go find a job. Go flip burgers at McDonald's. No offense if anybody works at McDonald's, I'm sorry. But that's just, you've got to devote your life to this job, this profession. Well, some of my speech was actually the history of Armistice Day, and of course that's already been told to you, so I'm going to spare you the details of understanding about Armistice Day. But I understand you have some really fantastic social studies teachers here, right? Can we give it up for the social studies teachers? Please know that's not a slight against any of the department. I'm sure that the faculty is just as amazing. But I'm sure if you're an upperclassman, a junior or senior, you've probably heard the stories or been taught instruction or lessons about World War I and how horrible it was and the effects that it had on future generations. In the United States of America, we actually got involved in World War I near the end in 1918. And the war was winding down. We came in and we know the United States made a big difference. But for 4 years, Britain and France were fighting against a German occupation or an attempted occupation of the city of Paris. And Germany had some friends helping them. They had Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. And this went on for a long time, okay? And neither side could gain an advantage. The Central Powers, Germany and Austria, would push the Allies back, and then they would push them back. So after a while, they just started digging a series of trenches that stretched 400 miles long from the North Sea all the way down to the Swiss Alps. And they fought that way for the entire duration of the war. There was a Western Front, and there was an Eastern Front. Russia was involved. The Ottomans were involved on the Eastern Front, the Austria-Hungaries. On the Western Front, it was Britain, it was the Belgians, it was France fighting off the Germans, fancies. But can you imagine living in a trench 20% of the year? I mean, you were 365 days in the trench, but you were at least 20% of your tour was inside the front lines in the trench with lice, dead bodies, maggots, a stench, a smell that no one should be able to stand. It takes a toll on the human mind. And it's hard to really understand the impact that World War I had. Europe and the modern world had not seen a war like that since 1450, on through the Renaissance forward. They had not seen anything like that before. So that's why the Great War, or World War I, is sometimes referred to as the war to end all wars. We never wanted to see that again. Well, what happened is the restrictions on Germany were so hard, so harsh, that eventually, 27 years later, we would just erupt into another war, World War II. That one was like World War I to the 10th power. It was like much, much harder, okay? It's for you math folks. All right, so in the Army, we have, and my good friend, Mr. Bolson over here could attest to this, in the Army, we have what's called a creed, a soldier's creed, something that we follow, something that we live by. Maybe you all that, all right, raise your hand if you play sports. Any sport. Right? All right, so y'all got small ball. I want to see if you're here. All right, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you're in the band. Where's the band? Oh, there they are. Look there. What am I doing? I'm looking the wrong way. All right, thank you. Raise your hand if you're a beta. Beta club. Yeah, thank you. Beta. Thank you. FCA. FHA. Future Farmers of America. FHA. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, cool. All right. So you're part of the team. You're part of something here, and everyone wants to belong to something. Forgive me if my voice cracks. I got a sinus infection. I'm squeaking like crazy. I don't mean to. I'm glitching up here. I don't mean to be glitching. So, as I read this soldier's creed to you that the Army instituted in 1973, I want you to picture yourself as part of a team and have these words represent you. Okay? Think about you being part of a team or something bigger than yourself. And take these words and apply it to yourself, okay? Now, Aaron, don't be mad at me. I should have this memorized.
I don't have it memorized.
Okay, good. Thanks. All right. Oh, here's the Soldier's Creed. Ready? Is this working? It's not. It's all working. Did I do it? Working. Gotta put it in my mouth. Oh, gee. Lee. All right. Here we go. Ready? All right. Trust me, those Russell students think, Mr. G, you're a little bit crazy. Yeah, this is the way I am. That's just how I do it. All right, here we go. Soldier's Creed. I am an American soldier. I am a member of FFA. I am a warrior, a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States. I live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade behind. I am disciplined physically, mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, myself. I am an expert. I am a professional. I'm ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States and America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and American way of life because I am an American soldier. Sound like I'm trying to recruit some members to join the military. I'm not trying to recruit you. That's just our values and stuff that we live by. What I recommend to you in your future careers after you leave high school is to, if you don't decide to go to college or go to trade school, is to consider joining the military. I mean, after all, you can join the military and they'll pay for your college afterwards. Pretty good deal, right? So just check it out. So on this day, of course, called Veterans Day, we honor all of our veterans, past, present, living and dead. And it's a very somber day for me. It's a very somber day for other veterans. I'm going to be honest with you, when I was in high school, I didn't really think much about it. When I was your age, I didn't. I listened, because we have Veterans Day ceremonies, and I listened, but I never really got it until I joined the military. I was like, I'm a part of something bigger than me. It's not about me, it's about something else, with a bigger picture. And I hope you all get that one day in your life. I want to tell you two quick stories about two recipients of the nation's highest medal you could ever receive. The nation's highest medal that you could ever receive is what?
Congressional Medal of Honor.
The Medal of Honor, very good. The Medal of Honor. And usually it's always for bravery or gallantry, something that is extraordinary, out of the norm. So let me read you about the very first Medal of Honor issued during the American Civil War. William Harvey Carney, first African-American awarded the Medal of Honor. He was born as a slave in Virginia, but eventually made his way to freedom in Massachusetts. When the Union Army began accepting volunteers, he joined the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment. It's the very first African-American unit organized in the Northern States. And it was led by Colonel Robert Shaw, a white Union officer. So Robert Shaw was tasked with taking Fort Wagner, which was a beachhead fortification that guarded the southern approach to Charleston Harbor, occupied by the Confederacy. A previous attack on the fort failed, and the 54th was chosen for the next attempt. As the soldiers stormed the fort's walls, a Union flag bearer was killed. Carney grabbed the flag and held it for the duration of the battle. Carney, along with the rest of the 54th, was forced to retreat. Throughout the battle, Carney never lost possession of the flag, despite suffering multiple injuries. Quote, "Boys, I only did my duty. The old flag should never touch the ground." Second Medal of Honor. Private First Class Garfield Langhorne, United States Army, was awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously after death for his gallantry at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as a radio operator in Troop C 7th Squadron, 17th Cavalry Regiment, Republic of Vietnam, in 1969. Private First Class Langhorne's platoon was inserted into a landing zone to rescue two pilots of a Cobra helicopter shot down by enemy fire on heavily timbered slope. He provided radio coordination with the command and control aircraft overhead while the troops acted their way through dense undergrowth to the wreckage, where both aviators were found dead. As the men were taking the bodies to a pickup site, they suddenly came under intense fire from the North Vietnamese soldiers in the camouflage bunkers to the front and right flank. And within minutes, they were surrounded. Private Langhorne immediately radioed for help from the orbiting gunships, which began to place minigun and rocket fire on the aggressors. He then lay between the platoon leader and another man, operating the radio and providing covering fire for the wounded who had been moved to the center of a small perimeter. Soon darkness fell, making it impossible for the gunships to give accurate support. And the aggressors began to probe the perimeter. An enemy hand grenade landed in front of Private First Class Langhorne and a few feet from personnel who had already become casualties. Choosing to protect these wounded, he unhesitatingly threw himself on the grenade, scooped it beneath his body, and absorbed the blast. By sacrificing himself, he saved his comrades. Could you do that? Could you do that? That's the ultimate sacrifice. And signing up for the military, joining the military, that's just the mentality that we have. It's about sacrifice for family, sacrifice for America. That American flag means a lot to me, and I hope when you say the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning, that you consider standing and put your hand on your heart and stand the pledge. You have the freedoms that you have today because of the sacrifice of the veterans. All around the United States today, I'm sure they're doing a ceremony. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Arlington National Cemetery, maybe at the beaches of Normandy, France. But they're paying tribute to veterans. You could actually say that because of the sacrifice of veterans, that this school here today was built because of those sacrifices, the freedoms that you have. So I guess in essence, you could blame homework on veterans. That's right, all the homework you get. I'm just teasing. So we owe our nation's veterans a debt we can never repay. We can and should remember them, what they did, and how great they were for us. We must honor them with our deeds, not just our words. A quote was once stated that America without her soldiers would be like God without his angels. It just doesn't work. They are the defenders of our freedom. And to the veterans, to my left, veterans, you have done your job, and you've done it well. You've made sacrifices for your country, and your families have made sacrifices as well. So for that, I salute you. All right, so in closing, so everybody's waiting for the closing, right? Before I close, I want to tell you a quick little story. So I'm not going to tell you a story about getting in the shootout with Iraqi insurgents, okay? I'll tell you another little funny story. So 2006, somewhere in an undisclosed location on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border, 4:30 a.m., July. It's already daylight, 4:30 a.m. I get into a truck with my body armor on, and if you've been at Russell High School 5 years ago, you're going to hear the same story. Forgive me, I just got to tell it because I like it, it's fun. So I get into a truck, and the sun's already beaming in on the windshield, right? And I'm just like blind. So I pull the sun visor down to block the sun, and out of nowhere, this great big old camel spider. Not that big. You all see the camel spider. Anybody see the camel spider? Everybody's going to their phones and Google camel spider. Like, go ahead and thumbs up. Oh, you better. Oh, don't do it. I'll get you in trouble. Okay, I got you. All right, good. But you get a chance to Google camel spiders. It's a big old nasty looking thing. They almost look like a cross between a spider and a scorpion. Anyway, that thing jumped on me. I'm scared to death of spiders. I'd like to like a snake before I would get near a spider. I was just that much scared of it. Anyway, this thing jumped on me. I freaked out. I jumped out of that truck. I don't know if you've ever thrown a cat in water. I hope you have it, but, okay, I did as a kid, sorry. I threw a cat in water, a cat's like, meow, getting out as fast as I can. And that was this big old fat boy getting out of that truck as fast as I could. And that's what I did. So that's my war story, okay? It didn't happen. All right, so, Greenup County High School students, thank you for this honor to be able to come speak to you today. I would like to compliment you on your behavior. It was awesome. You're very respectful. Nobody's laughing, nobody's moving off, everyone's paying attention. And God bless you for that one. I appreciate you a whole bunch. And I also, man, the faculty and staff here at Greenup County is awesome. You got a great principal. I had the honor to work with Mr. Thompson and Mrs. Thompson before at Russell. Don't hold that against them, please. Don't get mad at them. They're awesome. They're dedicated to your school's district here. But that's all I have to say. God bless you, and thank you for letting me speak with you.
Thank you, Mr. Gollihue. Please welcome our choir as they sing "Thank You, Soldiers." Please welcome Senior Ethan Webb.
In Flanders Field, In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the gun below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt time, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we grow. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who died. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Please welcome Senior Destiny Pennington.
The missing man table, also known as the fallen comrade table, is steeped in symbolism and is meant to remind us of fallen, missing, or imprisoned U.S. military service members. Each item on the missing man table represents the emotions and feelings reserved for those who did not come home. The ceremony symbolizes that they are with us here in spirit. All Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call to serve and fought for our freedom with honor.
The table is smaller than the others, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her oppressors. The table is separate from the others and can be set for 1 to 4 place settings to represent each service. It is round to show that our concern for them is never ending.
The white tablecloth draped over the table represents the security of the response to our country's call to arms.
The slices of lemon on the bread plate remind us of their bitter fate.
The salt upon the bread plate represents the tears of your family.
The black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends.
The single red rose reminds us of the lives of these Americans, their families, and loved ones. It
It signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of the United States of America. The red ribbon represents the love of our country, which inspired them to answer the nation's call.
The yellow candle and its yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for.
The wine glass turned upside down reminds us that our distinguished comrades cannot be with us to drink a toast or join in the festivities of the evening.
The empty chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or marine, but all who are not here with us.
Please rise and remove your hats. Join us in a moment of silence, followed immediately by the playing of taps. Please remain standing and silent. Please welcome Senior Bella Ramsey.
How do you measure a soldier's sacrifice? By Kelly Rowe. How do you measure a soldier's sacrifice? Is it by the number of friends and family left behind? Is it the months or years given in service? How do you measure a soldier's courage? Is it by the number of objectives completed, or by the number of bullets dodged or missions served? How do you measure a soldier's honor? Is it by the duty he or she volunteers for, or by the number of medals earned? The simple truth is that these things are immeasurable, as is this country's debt to all who serve and pay the price for freedom of this land.
All right, thank you. Please welcome the GCHS band. Thank you, GCHS band. This concludes the GCHS Veterans Day program. Please join me one more time by standing and giving an appreciation round of applause to our guests and veterans.